Hi, different location today. I'm here in the living room at Kirkman Towers rather than the office. But I've got something I would like to show you. There you go, Vinegar Joe box set. Who would have thought back in the day Vinegar Joe would have had a box set? Well, Cherry Red have just reissued the 3 Vinegar Joe albums in a box set, complete with bonus tracks. That picture on the cover originally came on the inside sleeve of their last album, which was called 6 Star General. That's all the information, which I don't really need to know because I even went to see Vinegar Joe. Now, you get the booklet. That's the cover of 6 Star General. That's the cover of the first Vinegar Joe album with the plasticine models. And this is a real rocking album. It's called Rock and Roll Gypsies. Great record. And Elkie Brooks really stomping their ground there. This is 6 Star General. This was their final album, actually. And it was really, really good. You may have seen them on the Old Grey Whistle Test. They did Proud to Be a Honky Woman and Lady of the Rain, both of which are on this particular album. They even released a single, believe it or not, on Island Records called Black Smoke Rising from the Calumet. Now, the great thing about Vinegar Joe, which grew out of a slightly bigger band that was signed to Atlantic called Dada, and the main people in Vinegar Joe were in Dada as well. So Vinegar Joe is kind of a little more rockier, a little more soul, and not as much jazz, really. And Elkie Brooks and Robert Palmer were the two singers, two wonderful singers, and both who went on to huge success following Vinegar Joe. But you also had Pete Gage, so there's this guitarist, Pete Gavin on drums, wonderful bass player Steve York, and Mike Deacon on keyboards. Mike Deacon ended up going on to play keyboards with Suzi Quatro in 1977 on the Agrophobia tour and also the album. That was the band's second album, Rock and Roll Gypsies. And there you go, this is Elkie stomping it out on stage, really nailing it to the floor, quite frankly. This was the first album. This is about 1971, and it's called Vinegar Joe. Now, the only 3 people, or 4 people who were still on it, Pete Gage on guitar, Steve York on bass, Elkie and Robert. Various other members came and went, but the definitive lineup for me is that lineup there, which is Elkie and Robert, Pete and Pete Gavin, Steve York and Mike Deacon. You get some great sleeve notes in here. There's another fantastic photo. Elkie, who was a real rock and roll chick, and she could really belt it out. Really, really belt it out. That, of course, I think that's Pete Gage. He was the guitarist who was married to Elkie at the time. And you kind of, apart from the fact that they had a very unusual lineup, in that they had 2 front singers. Look at that! What a great photo of Elkie Brooks that is. I went to go and see Elkie Brooks. There's a friend of mine went to go and see them as well, and she put a rose down the front of her top and sang a song, and then took the rose out and threw it out to my friend. He's probably still got it somewhere pressed. But there's a fantastic photo of Robert Palmer, who also played guitar in the band as well, rhythm guitar. Elkie once said that Chris Blackwell saw Vinegar Joe as the warm-up band for Robert Palmer's solo career. I don't think that for a minute. Robert was definitely, really definitely part of Vinegar Joe. Look at that. What a wonderful photo of Elkie Brooks there. She really was a rock and roll mama, and she's got a fantastic voice. Even now, she has a great voice, and she's still performing, and she's still making records, which is great. They do look a bit of a motley crew there, I have to say, but they were a wonderful band, and they made an amazing sound. Quite big, believe it or not, in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Germany, of course. That's them on the Old Grey Whistle Test performing Proud to Be a Honky Woman, which was actually on the Old Grey Whistle Test sometime in 1973. Now, here are the albums. And again, they are pretty special, pretty basic, I have to say. You've got the CDs in there. So they're in miniature album sleeves, but the CDs look pretty good. There's bonus tracks on here as well. Now, Rock and Roll Gypsies, look at that. I mean, Robert Palmer, then the rest of the band, and then Elkie either side. That is just incredible. And the music on here as well is just amazing. And I like these first 2 albums, but nowhere near as much as I love this album. This, there you can see, that's the picture that they used on the front of the box. And I think regarding the band going out on a high. They really did with this. The next album to come from the band, really, in terms of solo members, was Robert Palmer, Sneaking Sally Through the Alley. And then shortly after that, Elkie Brooks came out with her Rich Man's Woman album, which was again produced by Pete Gage, who again at that time was her husband. And I remember seeing it on the TV doing, I think it was To Do Ron Ron or something like that. Maybe not, maybe it's the Crystals, He's a Rebel. But I remember seeing her on the telly and she looked amazing. She still sounded great then. Out of Vinegar Joe. I love Vinegar Joe and I love going to see them live. Proud to Be a Honky Woman is on here, as is Lady of the Rain, which they did on the Whistle Test. Black Smoke Rising from the Calumet. And that's a bonus track on here, I think. And really, they were a great band, but they sort of, and I hate to say this, but they never broke into the Premier League, as it were. They were always Division 1. And they played on the universities and festivals and things like that. But they really should have been a lot bigger. They were a great band. They had a unique front line of Elkie and Robert Palmer. And when you think of the success those two singers went on to, it's surprising, really, that Vinegar Joe did not do as well as they did. Maybe it was the name, I don't know. I find it a mystery, really, because with a band as classy as this, I really think they should have done a lot more. But they were on the stages of the UK and Germany and Europe at the same time as Stone the Crows, who I also thought was another great band, and they didn't really do that much either, although Maggie Bell and Jimmy McCulloch went on to bigger and better things, as did Ronnie Lay and Steve Thompson and people like that. But I have to say, sorry, we also missed out Colin Allen from Stone the Crows. But this band as well, I mean, Pete Gage went into more production. Steve York became a great session player. Pete Gavin, again, drums. He was in originally Heads, Hands and Feet. And Mike Deacon, again, going into the session side of things, ended up playing with Susie Quattro by the mid to late 70s. They're all gathered together in this quite wonderful box, very reasonably priced as well, I must say. All three albums in beautiful miniature cardboard sleeves, a booklet full of incredible notes and photographs, and it's all contained in a lovely clamshell box. If you go to the website, cherryred.co.uk, it's running across the bottom of the page here now, and just go to the search box and put in Vinegar Joe. This will appear. And it's better to order directly from Cherry Red, to be honest with you. You get them very quickly, and of course you get them at a really good price. These are very, very well priced, I have to say. And certainly a band worth investigating, not at least for the fact that Robert Palmer and Elkie Brooks were singing with the band, but musically, top-notch stuff. And this brought back many great memories for me, seeing them live. I remember seeing them on the Whistle Test as well. Great band.